Hello, my name is Daryl Rooks, and my research question is based off of hypertrophy, specifically looking at whether a high volume, low intensity training is better than a low intensity, high volume training. So that really comes down to whether lifting heavy with lower reps or lifting with lower reps, or excuse me, with lower weight and more reps is better as far as muscular hypertrophy goes. Excuse me, I'm a little sick. So, if you go to the gym, most of the times, if you're asking someone that you maybe looks like they've been lifting for a long time, you'll probably get the answer that, oh, lifting heavy is better. You get more, they'll use a bro science term, you'll get more muscular activity. But what really does that mean? Muscular hypertrophy is the muscle fibers and the size of the muscle fibers. So when we're working out, we're essentially destroying and building up those muscle fibers again. So in a sense, working out in general is going to really break down, not even just working out, exercising, using a muscle is what's going to break those muscle fibers down and start that rebuilding process. So now you have a bigger muscle size, and that's what muscular hypertrophy is. This is an issue because with exercise and the gym becoming such a more prominent thing to do and being more widely accepted as a normal thing to do, people don't have the access to the information that they should. I'm a personal trainer right now at a gym, and I've maybe trained one client out of the 2 years that had any idea of anything with fitness. And that's okay, in the sense that not everyone's going to be an expert, but these people are going in lost. They have no idea what they're doing, and they have no idea what they're in there for. Weight loss, muscle building, they have no idea what the difference is between training programs and rep ranges. They don't know what intensity is and anything like that. And honestly, most personal trainers don't. Most of my colleagues have no idea. They've just got a certificate online, and it's just something they do in their spare time. And so this is an issue for professionals and for the clients. So you have individuals coming in that are lost. When you're lost and you don't know what you're doing, you lose confidence in being there. It's already a scary thing for some people to go to the gym. Now they're going to want to leave. But outside of just regular people, for athletes, this is going to further the. It's going to further the. Excuse me, I'm trying to find the word. It's going to make practices more efficient and exercise more efficient and training regimens more efficient for these athletes and for the strength and conditioning coaches that are having to train them, or the athletic trainer, or whatever job that you may be in. It's going to help. This research will help, better that field. And so, why do we need research? Some of the same things that I've talked upon: optimizing the workouts for sports performance. People have to go to see professionals in order to clear up a confusion, but they can sometimes be able to answer a simple question as whether should I lift heavy or should I lift lighter, based off of age, gender, etc., etc. So, problem statement. My question was, is there a statistical difference between high intensity, low volume training and low intensity, high volume training in respect to muscular hypertrophy? And like I said, again, high intensity, low volume training is a fancier way of saying lifting heavy, low reps. So anywhere from you're lifting at an 80 to 90% intensity of your 1 rep max, and lifting in about 3 to 5 rep range. Sometimes some people would say 8. And then low intensity, high volume training is going to be the opposite. You're lifting lighter, 50 to 60% of what your max would be, and you're in the 8 to 15 rep range. And then a hypothesis that I had is there is statistical difference between the two training programs. Excuse me, I think that's a typo. This is there's no statistical difference between the two training programs. Both will yield similar results in respect to muscular hypertrophy. There's supposed to be a note there. Sorry. Methods. So our participants were going to be 40 previously resistance trained men. They haven't been trained in over a year. And we also made sure to show the training program that we're going to put them under and make sure that they've never really been in anything that's like that, so they don't have a familiarity to their muscle memory, if you want to say that. So this helps just eliminate other confounding variables, like, oh, because they were trained before, that's why they have the numbers, and it will reflect in the data. So you can see right there on the screen that some of the mean data that they had. They all volunteered, and they were informed of the risk and benefits and everything else. So the procedures that we did, took the base measurements taken. We split the groups into two, like I've been saying before, the high volume or the high intensity and then the low intensity group. We all put them through a 8-day, 2-week training program that went over all the lifts and all the equipment that we'll be using in the study, all the different bars, the different form, just getting them comfortable with everything. And we use progressive overload, and the trainings are the same. Rest times are going to differ for them. So for our high intensity group, where you have longer rest times, they need more rest time because they're activating more of their body. And they just have to rest longer in order to get the optimal lift for the next set. Versus the low intensity, they have a little bit shorter of a rest time. And in order to measure our strength changes over this 8-week program, we did a 1-rep max of the bench press, which is normally considered the gold standard of strength. So with that, we had the same observer do the 1-rep max bench press with the same slight half pause at the bottom to press up to make sure there's no sort of bounce to it and momentum to help increase the lift. So we took all those before and then immediately after the 8-week training program. So instrumentation, we use all same equipment in the labs, same evaluator, and we used the 1-rep max chest press. So we did an ANOVA test on the measurements taken at post, and then we compared that with the pre-values, and that was used to reduce any influence of the initial score. So any of their initial measurements wouldn't affect what their post ones were, outside of what we want to test for, which is the strength. So after we did that, we did a paired sample t-test between the measurements taken for the 1-rep max pre and post, and we used an alpha level of 0.05. So with our findings, we found that both groups experienced changes in strength. You can see that the mean strength change for the 1-rep max in the first group, the heavy group, was those numbers there, and in the lower group, or in the low intensity, it was the second set of numbers. Between those two, after we ran the test, we found that there was no significant difference between the mean strength change between them. But as you can see, there obviously was a significant effect in each group within their strength changes. So what this really means is that both groups experienced strength changes, but neither one was so much greater than the other that we could confidently say, oh yes, high intensity or low intensity is better. So for future study, different gender, maybe a comparison of both, or taking 2 separate tests and comparing them together and then doing a test with all genders, testing for kids and adults, testing for adolescents, and then seniors, having a longer test period, and measuring actual muscular hypertrophy through imaging. So you can actually take the J images and the sonography and measure the cross-sectional area of the muscle to see what the actual change is. And so what we really concluded was that training to muscular failure, regardless of what your intensity and volume specificity is, it doesn't matter. It's training to muscular failure is what's going to induce the growth the most. That was my presentation. Thank you for watching.